and you just like mentioned you've flown the Airbus as well, and like many pilots just they have this opinion that the Airbus is like maybe easier to fly because like you have the fly-by-wire system, and you've flown both. What's your stance on that? Uh,
Well, this is the million-dollar question, isn't
mhm,
it?
mhm,
You know, okay. The it's going to be a really boring answer because the truth is they're both really good airplanes, very equal. However, they have their pros and cons, and the pros and cons are way apart from each other. This is my opinion again. I flew about 10,000 hours in the Airbus, the 1920 and the 21 Neo.
mhm,
So I have a considerable amount of time in the Airbus. Um, there are there are many things that when I fly the Boeing that you think, ooh, it would be good to fix that.
yeah,
It would be good. That would make it a little easier for us to operate this airplane. Um, Simple things such as systems diagrams, um, some automatic controls. Um, as an example, the start procedure on the Boeing is very much mechanical. You need electrics. You start to turn the engine fan itself. So you need air. So you have to turn a switch to put the air into the system to turn the turbine, and then at a certain rotation speed, you have to put fuel in, and and then monitor that and make sure that all of the parameters are good. And then at a certain time, check that the starter disengages. But with the Airbus, you select on or off, and all of that stuff that I just explained is done automatically. Now, is one better than the other? One's easier than the other. Is it better? I don't know. It's easier maybe to make a mistake if you have too many steps to achieve something, and I think maybe that's what Airbus philosophy was. And remember, in this philosophy, where the Boeing philosophy was the 60s, the Airbus philosophy was the 80s. So only 20 years different, and now we're 30 years on, and so it's still old technology, but it's just newer. It's just trying to learn from some of the things that the Boeing pilots, I would imagine, just said exactly what I just said. Now that we've got these longer journeys, and the range is increasing, this is an uncomfortable cockpit. Why can't we improve the how comfortable this flight deck is? Airbus took that and they made it way more ergonomically. They improved the ergonomics of the I can't say cockpit, flight deck,
yeah,
massively, and made it more comfortable, which meant it was less fatiguing, for the longer journeys. Something that Boeing, their design was already, it was there. That everybody was learning from that design. Um, and so uh, so that's basically it. Now to fly them, um, the Boeing by far is nicer to fly because you go back to your pilot skills. You're flying it. You can feel it. If you have a strong crosswind, you feel everything and you can react to it in the same way that you would in a Cessna. You're reacting to it and you feel very connected to the airplane. Um, but the truth is, I generally fly to 10,000 feet, and I generally fly the approach maybe on most days when it's not low cloud bases. I'll maybe fly from 10,000 feet down. So as a percentage of a flight, you're not really flying for that much. It's just the first bit and the last bit. And so to bearing that in mind, of course. Now on the Airbus side, um, it's not as nice to fly. You don't feel as connected. However, you have to learn how to operate this airplane and make it do what you want it to do with the side stick. And let's say, same scenario, landing on a strong crosswind, it takes an amount of skill and pilot skill. It's a pilot skill that you have to learn in the Airbus, as opposed to in the Boeing. It's something that you've been taught from day one, how to control and how to manipulate this airplane using conventional controls. Once you figure out the Airbus, it's a very, very, very nice airplane to fly. And you become very confident that, when you have these strong crosswinds or gusts or whatever it happens to be, that, you control it in the same way. The passengers would feel exactly the same thing. It's just that in the Boeing, you feel a little bit more connected. Long and short of all of this is it's really hard to pick between one or the other, because I love flying the Boeing, but I don't like sitting there for 6 hours in that flight deck. I don't particularly like flying the Airbus, but I love my office environment and the place to sit and do my job, the bulk of my job on these 6-hour flights. I like to be sat in the Airbus. I like that we have. I like that I have diagrams, electronic diagrams, systems diagrams available to me, and electronic checklists when things malfunction in the Airbus. On the Boeing, there's a little bit more. We've got to dig a little bit more, but we've got a really good quick reference handbook that solves most of the problems for us. It's really good. It's an excellent tool. It's hard to pick one over the other. I think if I was going to go, if we were going to go buy an Airbus or a Boeing today off of the lot, it would be very hard for me to pick. I'd probably, because now I'm older, I'd probably go for the Airbus because I'm more lazy.
Yeah.
I like my comfy seat.
Yeah. Yeah.